My parents told me this story as a kid. I'm 27 now, and it always freaks me out when I think about it. They both used to live in Vancouver, BC in the late 80s to early 90s, and this was before I was in the picture. Both my mom and dad lived in roughly the same neighborhood. One night he was driving her home, which was only like a 5-minute drive or so from his house. When he parked his car in the driveway, he just glanced a little to his left as they were talking and noticed a man standing about 20 feet away. He immediately got a bad feeling and told my mom not to get out and immediately started the car again. And once that man saw what he was doing, he darted at the car like some kind of a robot or something. Like he didn't move right, sort of stiff and inhuman. He got to the car so quickly that my dad barely had enough time to speed off. My mom ended up staying at his house that night, and they were both freaked out. My dad encouraged them to call the police, but my mom really didn't want to and thought maybe he was on drugs or something. For the next few days, they kept seeing this man lurking around the neighborhood, never really getting a good look at him. Friends of theirs in the neighborhood as well did try to catch him too, but never could. He always ran away with his weird, stiff body. The man didn't really do anything but scare them, and so for the most part it wasn't a huge part of their lives. They just made sure to keep a lookout. The man always seemed to just run away, so they didn't worry too much, and unfortunately they didn't see him as much of a threat. A couple of weeks later, my mom and her 2 girlfriends were walking late at night one August evening in the residential area that they all shared. They got together and shared a joint every once in a while later in the night so their parents wouldn't catch them. There was a wooded area close by that had a main large trail with some field, some swings, and a small slide. And if you kept walking straight, you would be in another area of houses. On the sides of the field, there were woods. The idea was they were going to cross the field to get to their other friend's place that they all told the parents that they were staying at. The woods also had some small trails, but it wouldn't be a good idea to go in there at night. Nobody ever went in there at night. Nobody ever really goes in there at nighttime, as it's known to have homeless people and drug addicts coming out, as it's so dark and secluded. My mom and her friends stopped abruptly when they saw the silhouette of a man standing ahead of them. They weren't even that far into walking the field. He immediately booked it at them, just like the man who chased the car. At this point, in that second, my mom knew it was the same guy as he was running in the exact same way. My mom just turned and ran as fast as she could, along with her friends, Sammy and Lauren. But Lauren was not with them. They noticed quite soon after running, but Lauren wasn't anywhere to be seen. It was only a few seconds that they were running before noticing Lauren wasn't with them. They were utterly shaken to their core and unsure what to do. They just started running back for home together, like they didn't even need to verbally say it, they just ran for it. They knew the best thing was to get safe and call the police. They've always regretted it in a lot of ways, as what ended up happening to Lauren was beyond horrible. But they knew if they just ran into the woods, they wouldn't be able to help. They couldn't even see a thing in the open, never mind in the woods, getting lost. They did get back to my mom's house and immediately called the police. A lot of things went on with the questioning and everything, but I'll spare those details. The police ended up finding Lauren in the woods, naked and bloody. She was of course sent to the hospital with thankfully minor wounds. Her mind is what really got hurt the most, though. What happened from Lauren's perspective was that when the man started running towards her, she froze. He caught her and with his weird motions ran extremely fast into the woods. And after that, her memory isn't great. She vaguely remembers feeling suction cups or something weird on her legs, which ended up bruising her, and she had no idea what they were. She knows she was taken advantage of as well, but didn't really talk further about that part, understandably. She had some head trauma as well as slices on her hands and face, probably done with a blade. The slices were superficial wounds and healed well, thankfully. This man was not seen again by my mom, my dad, and the rest of that area. The police are still looking for him. He may be involved in some other events just like this across Canada. There's so many aspects of this that still don't make any sense, like his inhuman running and weird suction cup device. But maybe it's best we don't know further, as this already scares me to my core. The what ifs nag at me when I think about this story. Lauren eventually stopped hanging out with her friends and eventually moved, so neither of my parents really knows what happened to her in the end, but they always think well of her. And they do hope that she has found a way to fight off her demons. Because this was so completely random in this particular area, it will most likely not be solved, but we do all hope it will be. It was all just a horrible time for so many families, as that area was pretty close-knit. My mom and dad are not together anymore and live in different places now, far from Vancouver.